doing a impromptu live stream. Historically after the Monday night games, I usually do a podcast, but when I head into work, then it takes forever to upload it because the service is just not good in the building that I'm in. So wanted to jump on and discuss what really was Get Right Monday for a couple of key alpha wide receiver ones. Both A.J. Brown and Ja'Marr Chase had huge games yesterday. So I'm going to discuss that. And then also the situation in Tennessee, which I kind of touched on yesterday. Sorry, I got to keep putting the phone down just to adjust while I'm in the car here. But the situation in Tennessee is already deteriorating rapidly. Excuse me. Technical difficulties early on. Deteriorating rapidly. I can't get the word out. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, guys. Bear with me. But, as far as the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry, we got problems. And, I touched on it yesterday about how Tyjae Spears might be somebody that we need to grab off waivers this week in the event that Derrick Henry gets traded. Spears has a PPR profile. Unlike Derrick Henry, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got explosive speed. While Henry is more of a power guy, doesn't catch the ball. So this is a proactive move that makes sense, that I think we should all make right away, starting with waivers this week. And, of course, Josh Palmer and Tank Dell are guys that we need to add as well. Now, listen, as far as last night is concerned, I'm going to start with the Eagles-Bucks game. And I took a bad beat last night. So I'm 3-0 in my friends and family league. I dropped to 2-1 in my work league. I told you guys I needed 42 points to overtake my opponent. And that A.J. Brown and Mike Evans left, and he had nobody. Well, I wound up getting 39. So I fell 3 freaking points short, yesterday, because Mike Evans winds up dropping a pass, and it was in the first half of the game, in the right corner of the end zone, which, I guess Baker Mayfield could have put it out a little bit further to the pylon, made the catch easier. But Evans, who's as short-handed as it gets, especially around the goal line, failed to bring it in, and that would have won me the game on top of everything else. He added a touchdown later on. And you could tell, too, that the Eagles were making a concerted effort to get the ball to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was very upset last week. And, the first 2 weeks, week 1 wasn't terrible, but week 2 wasn't good. And so the thinking went that, they were going to try to appease him and get him the ball, which they did. And Brown finished 9 for 131. And again, they tried to get him into the end zone. And even at the last play of the game, throwing him that dump off, it made my score so close. It was, it was almost torture. I hate losing like that. But A.J. Brown, listen, it was never a question of talent with the guy. It was just that spreading the ball around in this Eagles offense was the issue. And Devontae Smith really did absolutely nothing in this game. I think he was only 3 catches 4 for 28. So Devontae Smith, wasn't his turn. And so, while the target tree is pretty narrow, Dallas Goedert got 5 passes. The target tree is pretty narrow in Philadelphia. Brown and Devontae Smith will, like they did last year, will try to, will kind of, trade off being the top guy in the passing attack each week. So, and Jalen Hurts, listen, this Eagles offense is still adjusting, having lost Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator last year. Jalen Hurts threw 2 interceptions, did throw a touchdown and ran for another, but, he looks hesitant, maybe processing things like a half a second slower than you would like. But the running aspect of things, saves his weekly outings, so to speak. Now, the other thing is DeAndre Swift. So this is DeAndre Swift's backfield now. So his actual numbers, he went, I believe it was 138 yards yesterday, 16 for 130. But he only caught 1 pass. So a couple of things here. So again, this is DeAndre Swift's backfield. Now, he's earned it. 2 big rushing totals 2 weeks in a row. And it is a reminder that it was just a year ago, that we took him at the end of the first round, with the Detroit Lions. Now, different kind of offense that he's involved in now. And I said this all throughout the summer. When you have a mobile quarterback, they don't throw check down passes, and Swift only had the 1 catch. If he was with Detroit and had this kind of game, he would have had 5 catches easy. because Jared Goff is, check down Charlie a lot of times, right? So from a PPR perspective, it was impressive when he was on the field. With the Eagles, Swift is now yardage and touchdown dependent, all right? He had 14 plus PPR points, which, for a running back in PPR, the benchmark to me is always 15. So, it could always be better. The receptions are just not there for him. Talking about DeAndre Swift. So, again, off 2 weeks in a row where he had big yardage totals, I would try to sell high on him. That's my take. Again, he's not catching passes. The next injury's right around the corner. They're working him a lot. This is a guy who can't ever stay healthy. So I don't think it's the right formula. I know Kenneth Gainwell had a decent amount of work as well, but I'm not loving the run-heavy leanings of this offense so far, and they're not anywhere near as explosive as they were last season. Now, on the flip side, I told you Rachaad White was going to have a rough game, and he did. 2 duds out of 3 games so far for him. And, the Eagles are as good as anybody stopping the run. All right, goes without saying. White had a fumble. I believe he was 14 for 38. That's really ugly. Caught 3 passes, had a fumble, so 6.8 fantasy points in PPR, I believe it came out to. I don't have it in front of me. But Rachaad White just doesn't create for himself, right? He seems hesitant whenever he gets the ball. Dances a little bit too much. He's not Le'Veon Bell. He's got to get it and go. So that Rachaad White, to me, he's that low-end running back too in PPR leagues. In a standard league, he is a flex at best. So that's the issue there. Chris Godwin, really a no-show performance for him. It was Mike Evans who did the heavy lifting, and Evans has been good. 5 or 6, he had the touchdown. Should have had a second one. Man, them's the breaks, right? I would have won that matchup. Chris Godwin, I believe, only had 3 catches for 32 yards. So Chris Godwin, not great. It's just Baker Mayfield struggled. So, with owning Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, there's going to be weeks like this, okay? I mean, Mike Evans has been great at all 3 weeks. All he does is score touchdowns, right? So he's doing it again. We talk about Davante Adams being quarterback proof. Mike Evans is pretty much, quarterback proof as well. He's reeling off these 1,000-yard seasons every year of his career with some, Jameis Winston, Josh McCown, not some really shaky quarterbacks that he's had, throughout his career. So, very, very impressive there for sure when it comes to, Mike Evans and his ability to put up numbers no matter where he's at, right? So I think that, feel free to continue to ride him as your wide receiver 3. Now, Cincinnati and the Rams. About that, guys. The other part of this, in terms of Get Right Monday, is that Ja'Marr Chase went ballistic. All right, so Ja'Marr Chase, who wound up catching, I think, 12 for 140. Guys, I'm gonna come back on in 2 seconds. I got a phone call coming in from the missus. You know how